My feeling on AI is that it's only going to augment what's already out there. How it works is it draws from the data that's already produced. So it's basically not going to add to the world anything new. It's going to add to the world what's already been added and elaborate on it. And so what it's going to mean to us is the capacity to jump ahead and add to what it's producing. Of course, there is the a chance for other people to produce stuff that's like what we're producing, but that if you're truly original, you're going to come up with truly original lyrics, and the AI is not going to be able to reason out new lyrics. It can be creative, but it's being creative by filling in what is there, but nobody's elaborating on it. Okay, so it's going to be able to take from the world the stuff that other people have produced and create something new on top of that. But it'll be really easy to recognize the AI stuff, even though somebody might have done some sort of research and brought some people together and was able to fool some people. How many of those research papers out there are able to fool the audience consistently? Because all you have to do is just keep doing your research and then come up with one success and then completely disregard all the stuff that wasn't a success. And I mean, what is the drive for that? It's to bring in more people in your YouTube videos so that you can prosper. And so that you can see there that the fear of AI taking over um, art and music and all that stuff is a source of revenue because people are fearful of it. And the people that are actually using it are wise enough because they've gotten into that realm to realize that it doesn't have the capacity to really replace somebody that's creative. Um, it's going to augment and inspire um, the musicians and the artists that exist by giving them choices and giving them the capacity to move into other areas. And so what it'll do is it will permit rappers to move into country, heavy metal artists to move into rap or move into other areas and try their hand at doing something different. And that's where I think the ultimate value is going to come out of all of this. Um, but the people who are working on the AI stuff, especially for art, the capacity to create photography that of people that don't exist and all that stuff permits people to sell work and copyright work um, and have complete confidence that they got a record of its generation that can be reproduced in case they get hauled into court. And it would be really hard for somebody to really sue somebody if they've got um, a way of showing that they didn't produce it, that the AI did it, and the AI is only going to, it may pull from what exists, but it's going to not be, it's not going to be any different than what anybody else could do. And so, in that, there's not going to be a possibility to sue people, and that's where a lot of money's wasted, is in people suing people over a fear of being replaced. And so the AI is just going to get us closer to being more profitable um, than to be because it's impossible to control AI. It's you can tell it what you want, but you're going to get whatever it's going to produce. You're not going to get what you really want. The only way you can do that is by keep producing stuff and then picking the stuff you really like. And, you know, how much time you're going to want to spend actually making that content, because you're eventually just going to pick whatever it is that really sticks out to you. Then the AI is going to produce it. The AI is not going to be able to come up with what really inspires you, or not what really sticks out to you. And ultimately, this is just like collages. Collages take what exists in magazines and they cut out to create content. And ultimately, what you're going to show to people is the stuff that really sticks out to you. And in that is where your creativity lies, is the ability to identify good stuff. Okay, because that's what you are. I mean, what most artists are. Some artists start out designing stuff, some work in the process, and some work after the process. That's what they teach you in art school, and they try to get it so that you can work that all together and to collaborate with other artists. But I mean, who really wants to collaborate with somebody who will challenge them or something? I mean, that you want that, but you don't want to get in a fight over it. And so this is going to drive it more in a direction where people can either go with the AI art and not collaborate, or to go with collaboration. And the value add will be in the collaboration with other artists and the collaboration with AI. That'll be a step up from what people are trying to do at home, is not work with anybody else. And they're going to find the real value is of working with other people. And the AI is just only going to be able to give them what already exists, and maybe a little bit extra. But everybody's going to come up with a little bit extra because everybody's going to have the same tool, you know. So, and as I said, it's practically impossible to control AI. You can specify what you want, but what you really want in your head, you're not going to see in the AI. It's going to produce something, and it's up to you to choose what's closest to what's in your head. Whereas an artist that has mastery of the pen and or of things can create the art that's in their head and show it before people, which is the value of being a skillful artist. So I hope that makes it easier for people to see, you know, the value. And Chat GPT doesn't come up with any like original answers. Yeah, I've used it for search, for research and stuff, and it comes up with kind of bland results. It's surprising what it knows. Like, I was able to ask it if there was a weapon for PlanetSide 2 that permitted me to toss a grenade launcher. And it gave me a grenade launcher, but it was a grenade launcher of a weapon that no longer exists. And so it's only as good as the data that goes into it. And it's really, right now, is just an experiment to any. There was a case where I said, can you tell me what is different between Yamaha DX7 and a Synclavier? And at one point of it, it said, well, they're very different. They use two different kinds of synthesis. The Synclavier uses frequency modulation, whereas the Yamaha DX7 uses FM modulation, which is the same damn thing. So I had to tell the AI that it got it wrong, and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I got that wrong," which was interesting. But I start to wonder if it actually learned from that and made a little modification there. It did say something that I never noticed about the Synclavier. It says the Synclavier has the capacity to control the sound based upon which note you're playing on the keyboard, and so you can program it really finely to make a different sound for every note. And but it's I still don't understand what the advantage of those synthesizers are, like a synclavier. I might ask it what's the difference between a synclavier and a Fairlight CMI or what a and that's what it's really good at, is comparing two things. You can ask it like um, you can ask it things you would ask of Google, but Google would just give you keyword searches on papers, then you have to read through them and find out the differences. Whereas ChatGPT will just give you what it knows from all of those papers and save you time. And it's not going to be able to come up with anything that's original. If somebody knows what you asked it, and then they're going to come up with the same results that you came up with. So you really can't use it to create original lyrics or to create uh, original opening for a YouTube video like some other YouTube creator had done. The thing that guy needs to realize is that not all of us as dumb as he thinks we are, and he's trying to come up with content that he can entertain his audience with, and what he's going to make more money if he can keep them in fear. Um, if he doesn't tell them the truth, he's going to keep them coming back, and it's in his best interest to do that, because if he gives them the truth outright, then he's not giving them what they want. What they want is to expect that the AI is going to replace them, because that's what they're fearful of. If they get an answer that puts them at makes them calm and says, "Well, you have nothing to fear" or something, then they're still going to fear it. But it's kind of like, "Well, you don't know what AI is capable of." No, I do. I've been messing around with it. And it's up to you to determine if you're going to work with it by messing around with it. And eventually you're going to come to the realization that it's like consulting with some guy that doesn't know anything. And that's really pretty much all the guy does. Is he's just super fast at producing content, but the content that's produced is really not that controllable. Just like my last video, which pointed out the stuff I wanted, it wasn't going to give me, because the company that had worked on the AI and had made it was determining what my capacity to be expressive was, because they wanted to shape the culture through that AI. And I see that eventually as failing, but they're trying to put their best foot forward to try to inspire people to work with their tool. But I'll just say that I'll put an end to this, and I'll just say, you can make it be what you think that it's going to be for you, but that doesn't mean that's what it is. You really have to mess with it to see what it's capable of, and if it makes you fearful, then your fears are are acknowledged. But if it doesn't, then you have one less thing to fear, right? So